Hello and welcome to episode 39 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough here. Cycle 73, day 20. Got about 3 days left in our current non-temperate cycle. And last time we did a whole bunch of good stuff. But we could have done things a little bit better. We'll talk about that. We added a whole bunch of housing. We managed to kind of maybe somewhat but not completely solve our population woes. Turns out we're going to need a lot more advanced breeding pods. I appreciate all the comments and help on that. And we continued putting in tubeways on a bunch of different levels, and we now have these three, with the exception of this corner, these three fully completed in terms of tubeways, this one fully completed in terms of tubeways, and then I said, next time we're going to work on this, and we will, with some other stuff as well. But I wanted to start things off by bringing to everyone's attention some really smart stuff that was left in the comment section of the previous episode. So this isn't a good layer to illustrate this. We'll go up to, I guess, right here. Because I've been informed that there is a very good, very easy way for us to have optimal tubeway connection to every building up here. And that's going to be to redo how these tiny tubeway stations are laid out. Now, I'm not really completely sure that I want to just demolish all of these, so we might have to make a couple of modifications, but I really did like the ideas left in the comments about this. Let me see if I can get this to play nice for me here. The idea is that every building could be connected directly to a tiny tubeway station, and we could maintain access to the outside layers here with, you know, the tiny tubeway station just leaving onto a path. So we kind of already did this to a certain extent with this stack of row houses and this one. Those do have directly attached tiny tubeway stations, but none of these things, the large tanks, have directly attached tubeway stations. Now, I mean, it's so close. It's honestly probably close enough to where we won't have to worry about it. But it is still possible for us to connect these things together. I don't know if it's something I'd want to do like live in a video. I'd probably have to time-lapse it and just spend a whole bunch of time working on it. But I did want to acknowledge some really, really smart thinking, good ideas, good suggestions from you guys in the comments, so that you don't think I'm ignoring that. It's going to take a lot longer for me to figure this out than I currently have for today's video, but I would like at some point to do this. Just going to let you guys know that in advance. But coming up here to the Mangrove level again, this has been an interesting process trying to figure this out, because we do have enough mangrove fruits currently to feed all of the beavers that we have. They are snacking on those things, and there's currently only 10 of them that haven't eaten any, and there's, 19 in storage. And I haven't even had all of this planted, and I don't have all of them even harvestable in the first place. There's, I don't know, 10, 15% of them that aren't getting picked up. So we still have some work to do with that. But before we go any further, we do have to connect tubeways around this entire level here. We also have cassava, which, if we refer to all of the math that has been done on our behalf in the comments a long time ago, we need 900 crops. Which currently, this is not 900. It's probably not even close to 900. I don't want to sit here and count it, but one of these quadrants, not with all of this removed, but with the centerpiece removed, one of these quadrants can hold about 500-ish crops. And not only do we not have two entire quadrants filled, we don't even have each quadrant filled. So I think for the most part, it's going to be necessary for us to put in a few more cassava crops, a lot more farmhouses, because the cassavas are going to have 15. Assuming minimum well-being, they have to have 15 farms to take care of everything. They're going to require 8 fermenters. We've already discussed we're not going to use engines to power anything, so that's fine. But 8 fermenters, and then to run all of that stuff, of course the fermenters don't require anything but just regular power and then stuff in here for the cassavas. If we were powering them with engines, then we'd have to worry about, trees to grow for logs, but that's not the case. So come back down here and take a look at this. We have 1 farm, 2 farm, 3 farm, 4, which honestly, this layout for farms is probably okay for cassava. If we're going to plant this entire level with it, all the green space, that's probably about what we should be doing to, you know, counteract the whole, hey, a quarter of the map on this level is taken up by water or the central core. So that right now makes it so that if every other square outside of this, more or less, was covered with cassava, that would be 1,500-ish. We have all these pillars. We have this thing here. We have these paths. We have this whole bad water structure. So realistically, it might be only closer to about 1,000 to 1,200. Again, I probably should actually do the math, but considering the lateness of the hour and the fact that I need to get this video complete so you guys can see it tomorrow, I'm not going to spend my time doing the math. Instead, what we'll do is we'll come into this corner and put in our campfires like we've done. This is a good design. We can improve it. We will improve it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But for the sake of expedience, I'm going to pop in campfire 1, 2, 3. Get this connected up here. Try to remember exactly how this was set up. I believe, yeah, because there was a station there. Yep. Okay, so that's going to help. We will need to have another farm. I'm just going to say, since this said it needed 15, we're probably not going to need 15. But we're going to want to have as many as possible. So, just to move this around. Oh, cassava, by the way, is, if you're keeping track at home, one of those crops that we can build overhangs on top of. So we will be, yes, removing the paths and planting cassava where the path goes. But for the time being, I'm still going to put the paths in here. Remember, we're going to have everything connect roughly the same way as it has been before, which is going to require us to put in additional terrain, as one does, just to get these things popped in here nice and easy like. And then I think this is the limit of what we can actually build terrain-wise. Obviously, we could have this maybe built on top of as well. I don't think it's going to communicate any poison unless I click here, which I'm not going to do, so we're just going to leave that alone. It also does get kind of complicated on these other levels because I have this land gone because there is an efficient mine under here, and I can't really hold up all of this dirt yet. So it's a little weird, a little funky. But the two-way that's connected here, I believe, is going to end up needing to have a station on this block. So let's remove that cassava, and then that's going to cause us to have to rotate this farmhouse not 180 degrees, because remember, it still has to actually have a connection to the regular rest of the ground here, or else it's not going to work. But this farmhouse can be rotated and flipped, which will allow us to put in an entrance here, and then a pathway here and here that's going to make that accessible that way. Like I said, it's kind of a mess, objectively, but it's our mess, and we're having a good time with it, because that is the way all of this always goes. So I just have to remember exactly where I put all of my stations. Not that it really matters, but I do try my best to keep things nice and consistent when at all possible. And remember, the farmhouses have to be able to access the outside world. They can't just go straight into the tiny two-way station. So some of this is going to end up maybe looking a little bit suboptimal with how this is laid out. But it's going to be fine. Going to be just peachy. I think I'm going to end up doing two facing stations. Well, one facing this way, one facing this way. And then some sort of other platforms underneath. So let's actually build with that intent here. I guess I have to go up one more level. See, this here, this into that corner. This already has a station here, so we don't need to worry about it. This bit here, because of the positioning of everything, I probably could go around the backside, and maybe that would be better. Actually, selfishly, I do kind of think that is better. Why did I say selfishly? It's not a selfish decision. It's a smart one. That needs to be removed. Let's get that out of there. Just trying to think carefully here. There's a lot of moving parts when these things, you know, move around and cause disturbances in my head that other people would call thinking. Just doing my best, whatever I can. And this is going to have to be probably, since we need to get over to here as well, I guess maybe a station here. That's too long. If I do my 5s, I can do a 5 there, and I can do... I don't need to worry about that being a 5. I'll put it as a 6. I'm just trying to think about what might make sense. What did I do down here? I have that and that spun in that direction. What? Okay. I've already caused confusion. It's all right. That's how it always goes. I do need to make sure that I'm leaving space for this to be accessed. I guess it's all right. So if that goes there, then I can have a triple here. And then I think if I'm not going to have anything else actually on the path, then this might be okay. Let's go for a... I guess I'll end up doing a 5. And then I can turn these two into 5. See, there's a reason. There's a reason I wanted to do that the first time, and then I didn't do it. Can't tell you what that was, but... let's see. That can go... not quite there. I'll do a 3. And then that means this will become a tube-way station, just for the benefit of everyone involved. Ah, but wait. Wait, I forgot that this was going to be a tube-way station here, and then there was going to be another one. You know what? It's not a big deal to have this many paths here. I'm just going to put two tube-way stations back to back. I don't need to complicate this any more than it already is. They're going to take a long time to build this anyway, but I do need to get over past this mess here. I don't think there's anything else I can build off of this side. No, it doesn't look like it. So this may cause us to have a slightly different design. Remember, I can build a tube-way on top of or next to this without any problems, so that's not something we need to be super concerned about. This is going to have to probably come through this way if I'm going to be smart about that. That'll go there. 6x1 here. And then, can I fit another 6x1 next to it without some sort of nonsense? Probably not. So then I suppose, if I'm going to put a 6x here, might as well just do a 5. And then this is going to have a station, so I don't need to have that. So what if I did a 4? 4 there, and then a 3 next to it. Okay. I know, the thinking process is certainly a process, and it does certainly take time, but they're going to have to, you know, work on this for some sort of extended period of time. We're going to put this in triple speed, leave it alone, and talk about something else in the meantime. We only have 1.1 days left in the drought. We have 19,000, one more 0, 19,000 water in here. Looking pretty good, but we still don't have enough beavers working in these jobs, so that means we need more beavers who can be living in these houses. And I guess it is about that time to just pop in a couple more breeding pods. We do have 14 breeding pods. This will get us to 16. I'm trying not to explode things too quickly because while they do come out as adults, there are still birth waves and death waves, and the population can fluctuate a little bit depending on the well-being of the beavers in question. So these 3 right here are all basically the same. Those 2 are the same. These 3, 4 are the same. This one's a little bit further. This one is the same as those. And that one too. And yeah, these need to be spaced out a little bit better. So let's get these going right now. And then at some point, it'll all even out. It'll be okay. Won't be that big of a deal. We still do have half a day before this drought ends. So let's take another moment and talk about what we're going to do about well-being over here. We have already one of these guys, which is a good addition, but if the beavers are all going to come to these campfires, and I know we're going to need more than just 3 per level, but we'll get there eventually, then it would be really smart, as you guys have suggested, to put in some additional well-being and decorations within the range of here, or within the range of beavers who are entering or leaving this area. So, we can also utilize frog statues in this same area. Some of these levels that are going to have the paths and everything are probably still fine to just pop those wherever we want. But the area of effect decorations, especially these with more than 1 tile of range, I think are going to be our best friend here. So, a beaver bust in this location. Every beaver who goes to any of these 3 is going to have to come inside the range. Beaver statue, same kind of deal. I know he's like, oh, I guess he's like banging on the tube there. There you go. So that is already 3 of these area of effect items that are wonderfully set up there. And keep in mind, this stacks on every single level. So we don't have to have these on every single level. We just have to have it represented once in the stack. So that is the brazier, the beaver bust, the beaver statue, all taken care of. Why is that still... Okay, because I've still got it set up. Lanterns, we do not have. But don't forget, we have these indoor lanterns, and we also have the street lanterns that we can place right here. In fact, for this one, I will pop it right here in the corner so that everybody gets it. And that's another thing taken care of. Shrubs. Everybody loves shrubs, and if you don't, then, well, start loving shrubs. That takes care of that. We've got our roofing pieces, which... yes, do match on every single level, no matter where you put them in. And this one can go right there. Even though the thing's right there, again, this is about optimization, right? It's just going to help. So that's taken care of now at this point. Everything in here that actually has an area of effect, except for the clock. The clock will also fit very nicely. Which one's the front? This side. Fit very nicely right there. And now that's everything in the base game that has those area of effect things. And the lantern, which is just a single thing. And then we have Torii gates we can put in. But those are probably better off where the beavers actually sleep. So this should give us a pretty sizable boost. At least 1 or 2 points. And I think that's going to be a very good thing for our beavers to take advantage of. So we have 19,000 water. Not 1,900. 19,000 water. With 166 beavers, that's plenty. And we have 63 vacancies. Because I don't have enough beavers. But that's slowly growing. And we do have 3 of these pumps that are actively working, so we're not going to run out. I just can't justify popping anybody else in the pumps right now, where we're also still trying to build and get things back in order. Get our industrial stuff running again as well. I just, in the last episode, unpaused the gear workshops so that we could have gears to build other things. And don't forget, as the population grows, we're going to have to get beavers into these food buildings as well. So that's why we are doing what we're doing with this. We're not worrying about popping beavers in here. And that brings us to the large row houses all over this area. Yes, this is a very suboptimal design. It's probably going to get torn out and replaced at some point. We need to remove the stacks of earth. Here, and here in the corner. I had thought at one point I was going to want to keep those for the sake of having everything up top completely covered in dirt. But I think we're past the point of that actually mattering. And instead, we'll just leave that open in case I want or need to make our bad water structure taller later. So we can very safely come in here with our dynamite and start laying waste to this. I'm not going to constantly monitor this. This will just be one of those things. If we see it and it's complete, we'll set it off. I very well could forget until the next episode in the next 2 minutes, and that would probably still be okay. But now that that's taken care of, let's take a look at our mangrove level and see what has been constructed. And we have some of these overhangs already done, which is good. But the removal stuff is, of course, going to take time. I'm going to leave this on triple speed here, and I'm going to time-lapse this for just a little bit while they work on building out the rest of this. while the population slowly increases, and then we'll come back and we'll fill all this in real time with all the tubeways and take the paths out, plant some more cassavas, put down some more of these farmhouses, so on and so forth. All the fun stuff that you come to expect from what we're working on. But yeah, I will see you on the other side of this very short time lapse now. Alright, so these things are all put in place. Now all we have to do is pop in our two-way stations and the remaining places they need to go and get everything hooked up. I'm going to wait to put these in because that's going to require removing the path, and it won't be useful at all until the rest of these are placed. So again, just to check, we have two-way station here, two-way station here, 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 and there will be two here. One this way, one this way. These get highlighted, of course, because of the fantastic TImprove for UI mod that highlights similar buildings and buildings that contain materials or finished goods or whatever related to those buildings. Great mod. But let's, before we get too excited about anything else, first connect to a two-way that actually exists elsewhere on the map, and then get these guys wired in, so to speak. All the way that way, all the way that way. This also is supposed to have a tubeway, which I will put here. This is going to create a little bit of ugly, but that's fine. It's kind of unavoidable. Not completely, but kind of. Then that will come all the way around to here, and then all the way around to here. And once that's fine, I believe... actually, once this is connected here, I can get away with putting this other one out. Let's do that out and that out. Oh, that's the wrong button. Good job, me. Let's get these out of here. I can put paths connecting these two. I'll leave this path in place, which will then allow me to disconnect the here and here without taking this farmhouse out of commission. Now, before anybody asks, and if you already have, well, that's okay. But I cannot build across the mangroves because of the height of the layer. They do take up enough space to where I cannot get anything across here. So we unfortunately cannot connect to the core on this level, but we do connect to this vertical tubeway and this one, which do connect to the core on this level. And tubeways are so fast, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be totally fine. So they're going to take advantage of that. Let's put in our pathways here. That is going to allow us to take this out and this out. And is there a better way to do this besides just, you know, putting two-way stations in? Yeah, probably. But I wanted to do this. I thought it looked cool, so that's the way that goes. Now I think I feel pretty comfortable doing the same thing over here. Again, is there a better way to do it? Almost certainly. But I kind of don't care. I just want this to be a thing. So we have already 5. That's a forester. 5 farmhouses. In theory, we need to have 15. I don't think we're going to need that many at a higher well-being, but we do need to put in whatever we can right here. That guy's going to work there. I'm going to do the same kind of thing I did here, except I'm not going to put in a second whatever thing, but this will do just fine. The orientation of the doorway probably doesn't matter that much, so I'll just have those two right next to each other, and then I will put another one right here next to that station, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, 4 on this side, 8. This gives us 9, and if I put one more up here, that will give us 10. I am planning on planting all of this as cassava. We probably don't need it, but it's going to be good to have anyway. So this can go right in front, right there, and that's going to allow me to take out almost all of this pathing. Once that's put in place, I know this is disconnected. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. We also, you know, don't have storage for mangrove fruits, and I don't want to really build a whole lot more up here because I know we're going to be redoing this. But what we can do very easily is just put in a simple medium warehouse for some mangrove fruits up here. Prioritize that so those can go right into it. And that's going to help us as we're moving along, taking care of other stuff. Up to about 400 gears. That's looking good. Our logs are just completely fine. But now there's not really a whole lot we can do without just time-lapsing through stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back on triple, and we're going to come down here and check on all of our beaver pods here. I saw a really good idea in the comments to call these ABBAs, Adult Beaver Brewing Areas. So, baby beaver brewing buckets no more. These are now ABBAs. Those are closely synced to which of these? Ideally none? Okay, well they're this one, this one, this one, this one. I guess that's fine. We're up to 178 in just half a cycle? Maybe 2/3 of a cycle? Not quite a full cycle? I think we're fine with these 2 additional ones for now, especially now that the well-being is up to an average of 22, which I am pretty sure is going to be due to us putting all of this stuff over here. Let's check it out. Okay, wet fur is something we still need to work on. We need to put in swimming pools. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Still don't have kohlrabis, which is interesting because I know I planted some. Maybe I just completely unplanted them and forgot. That's probably what happened. But this is all looking good, food-wise. Always has. Campfires are looking a lot better. Still have a little bit of room to improve. Rooftop terraces, we have not built any yet. We will. Frog statues, also have not built any yet. We will. In fact, that is going to be the perfect thing to put right here in each of not that one, in each of these levels. So maybe, well, I mean, it's not, like, illegal to have this space like this. That's fine, as the soybeans take up 2 blocks height anyway. Cool. So I guess that's good. That takes care of that a little bit. And then, let's see. Oh yeah, we're going to be exploding some terrain here. That's a fun project to do. So now is where I time-lapse this, and we start exploding some things, putting some more dynamite in, and just waiting for all of those tubeways on the Mangrove level to complete. And then at that point, we will go back and look at even more stuff to do. Alright, so all of the detonation has finished, and we now have plenty of additional space to mess with the row houses. And there's a couple ideas you guys gave to improve these, and to connect them to the tubeways. But I think row house reconstruction is going to have to be a topic for another episode, but I do want to discuss that real quick before we move on to anything else. If we stack these guys, just for example, the right stack here, as opposed to the left one, if we stack them 1 block higher, we can offset all of the entrances, and then we can then stack the tiny two-way stations. One this way, and the next one on the top this way, so on and so forth, with 2 ways in between them. And then that means they'll be completely connected. And then on the inside of this, because of the, I guess, what's going to be the best way to illustrate this? I guess from the end here. We have all of this space in the middle of these overhangs, and then 1 level above these power shafts. If we really wanted to, we could completely redo this, but I think we could have sideways travel through at least one of these cavities underneath the overhangs to connect everything, and then into the regular grid. They do line up somewhat favorably for that at least one point, like this level here with these overhangs is at the same exact level as this set of tubeways. That would be very easy to put that in. And that actually might be the only one. So I guess that's what we're going to bank on. If we do that, then we can eliminate these ladders, and I can squeeze 1 more set of these row houses in, depending on how I lay it out. So, we'll do that next episode, though. Do remind me in the comments if I forget. But I am very curious now to see what these guys have gotten up to down here. And it looks like this is all good to go for the most part. Everything seems to be connected. Actually, we can click on one of these, and it'll show us this whole network over here. It looks like we are good. So, let's peel back 1 more layer and start removing all of these paths. We only need the paths that connect directly to the buildings or to the tubeway station. So we'll start here. Take this out all the way to there. We'll take this out all the way to there. We can take this out. We can take this all the way out. Same deal all the way to this corner here. And then this all the way to here. And then I don't want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of just the paths. There we go. Take that out to there. This, of course, has to stay. This, of course, has to stay. But this doesn't. All the way out to here. And there you go. Look at all this extra space we have to grow cassava. Even though we're not going to need all of it, we may want at some point in the future to put additional farmhouses in. That's very easy, very simple to take care of. But there's one thing we haven't done yet that we need to do with regard to the mangroves. And that is what we should have done a long time ago. Unplant this entire row here so that they can naturally spread. We've had so many cycles just completely time-lapsed through that I'm really kicking myself for not having taken care of that. I could have put, yeah, sure, another forester over here, but that would have required... Actually, there's already a spot here. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. There's no rule that says the dog can't play basketball, right? There's no rule that says I can't do it this way. So that'll just be a very convenient, very simple thing for us here. I mean, they're going to need access into this anyway, and then once all the trees are planted, I can take the forester out. I can definitely take this forester out for sure. Take these platforms away. And I guess this does have to stay here, and these have to stay here. What was the number on the gathered flags for these mangrove trees? I know we're not planting a ton of mangroves. It's maybe like a third of the number we'd actually need. Scroll down here. 1,125 mangrove trees and 19 gatherers. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be... I don't think that number is going to be happening. So we're going to stick with, let's say, 2 more over here. And then I will put 2 here. This, of course, has to be connected to the actual paths, and I know this is like kind of defeating the purpose of what we just did by removing paths, but them planting the mangrove trees is going to be the best thing for us to do. We don't have to worry about waiting for it, and there you go. So yes, this is only 9 of these farmhouses. 10, technically. There's one here. We're going to see if that's enough. It probably is, but we also only have 180-something beavers at this exact moment, so we'll just drag this all the way here, put it in the corner, and then drag this all the way to here. And I'm trying not to get inside the mangrove thing. Drag that to there, drag that to there, so on and so forth. Bring this over this way, and then we will, of course, plant the rest of these. So, that's a lot of cassava that we probably don't need, but we have it anyway. So that is an entire level devoted to that. There's not another crop that we have to grow that will actually need this much, but it's good to have things taken care of beyond the point that we'd actually, you know, absolutely have to need. So next up, we have eggplants on this level. And then up on this level, I guess, is where the kohlrabis were that I just deleted. Then above that is the very top. So, eggplants, if I take a look at my thing here, it says 300 crops, which for most part we already have. They need 10 farms, including the stuff for the canola. So, we have one, a single one. And this is another scenario where we're not going to have the tubeway connected in the middle. But these crops, as we'll see here, can somehow have overhangs on top of them Not that we're going to need the extra space anyway, but, you know, if we really were super desperate, we could do it. The bigger problem we're going to face over here is, what do we do with all this extra space? And this is where some of this other stuff, the well-being, is going to come in handy. Now, the motivatoriums do not fit on this level. They're too tall. So those are going to have to go probably on the very top. And depending on how our wood situation is panning out, we might end up putting one of these down here if I can find the space. I don't know. That might be a little bit of an ask. First of all, I have to make sure it'll actually go on the top level. Okay, good. I thought for a second there might have been like a minimum dirt depth for this, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So while they're working on all that stuff, you already know. You already know this is how we do it here. Let's pop in some campfires in the corner. Get this all connected up. And then, honestly, we probably could put some over here too, because this is never going to be dealt with. Very simple. Very easy. Just pop that right like so. And that's 2 campfires there. In fact, you know, we probably should do that on probably all of these levels. But it's going to help. Every little bit always does. You know how this goes. Let's go down one more level here. Yeah, we've made some really nice progress here. And even all but this very corner square are irrigated enough to have cassavas. How about that? We are still planting the mangrove trees, so that's going to take a little bit more time. After which we will remove these foresters like we did over here. And I've got my 4. I'm going to put 2 more in here when that's taken care of. Those guys could also get their own 2-boy station. Probably right about here. And just move that into there as soon as this is all taken care of. I see a space here that does not have cassava. Now it does. Now that one does also. I am just really pleased with how this is working out. I know we've looked at a lot of these 1,000 beavers on Diorama things because you guys have sent a whole ton of them in. And there's still a bunch more that I probably am not going to be able to do videos on just because I can't do the like 30 of these things. But there's a lot of good ideas that I wish I would have come up with because they are objectively better than what I had thought of. But we can still have a whole lot of fun doing this the way that we want to do it. And even if it's not 100% efficient or the best possible option or whatever, we still had a really good time putting it together. I see a couple of things that are not cassava that should be cassava. So let's take care of that. I think it was just a few of these tiles here that hadn't been planted, so I guess that's good. That's all going... We're up to 190 beavers. Again, I'm not trying to have a huge population increase super fast, but it is time for us to add a few more of these. Just because we have so many other jobs that are not being performed that do need to be performed. So yeah, pretty good progress on this. I'm going to say that there's probably still a lot more we could do, but we're not really in a spot where I can dedicate another hour or so to recording this tonight to do everything else. But I think we can still be pretty happy with it. Let me scroll back up and see what is on my list of fixes I wanted to get to today. We got rid of those pillars over there. We do still have the ones inside the reservoir, I'm reminded of here, that have not been removed and do need to be removed, but that's going to require we build some scaffolding or get in the process of putting some other water pumps and stuff in here. Do note that we are 6 days out from being in a good tide again, and we still have 16,000 water stored up. We're fine, but we're going to have to start turning these on once we get over about 210-ish beavers. That should be okay. I do think long-term it's going to benefit us to make this reservoir at least 1 block wider on every side, just so we can fit another row of pumps in on all levels. Like this one here, if I move this over 1 more, I can fit 1 more row of pumps here, and then of course there'll be 4 on this side as well. You move this side out 1 more, then I can fit another row of a whole bunch of these pumps in here. It just makes sense. So we have all this wood. Let's enable the process by starting to move things out. Now I know it's not the most perfect thing ever, and there's a lot of this that's going to have to be ripped out, moved, so on and so forth. But that's why we do this, right? we're trying to figure out the best possible way to accomplish a goal by doing it. No one here is going to claim that they're perfect, and if they are lying, because that is not humanly possible. But it is very easy for us to come in here, put in a whole bunch of these levees, and then start the process of saying goodbye to come back a little bit later and do it all again. Now, we can also go a little bit higher, too. Don't forget, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4... I think 5. Yeah, I can go 5 blocks higher than this to get to the very, 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 very top. Now, I obviously don't want them to build this, and they can't right now, but we do have an option to make this reservoir the maximum possible height, which I think, for where we're going with the end game, is going to be the right choice. I will leave this paused, just so they don't build it in case we decide we don't want it. But this will be a very good start getting this wall moved out. We'll have to make sure that this also gets taken care of, which is going to be one of those things that we will have to do a lot of work to move industry around. But hey, I said we were going to redo that anyway, so no real reason to be upset with that. We'll just do what we can when we can. And this also will help irrigate just a little bit more of these corners. Not that we really need that, but again, every little bit counts. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. I know this one's a little bit shorter, but it's the time I had today to work on this because I'm working on another fun project for the other channel, which I haven't really talked to everybody about yet. But you'll see very soon in your feeds. I cannot do this without the support of the Beard Boosters, who subsidize everything and make it possible to do the crazy things like 39 episodes of this series, 40-something episodes of the Water Beavers, and all of the Roller Coaster Tycoon videos that everyone who watches them really, really, really loves, but YouTube kind of doesn't. You know, it's the stuff like that. They make it possible to just run the channel the way I want to do it and not have to line up sponsors for mattresses or frozen food or anything else that, I don't know, maybe somebody might want to buy, but I don't really need to be selling, because I'm playing a game, having fun with the beavers, and trying to cultivate a positive and helpful community, which I think for the most part we do have a very nice one here. So I always appreciate you guys being a part of that. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and I will see you back soon for more beavers and other fun content. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.